Thanks for tuning in to Freedom Fighters Code Gray. This is a show where we discuss human trafficking, an issue that's happening in our communities, in our backyard. There are many different forms of exploitation, one of which is sexual exploitation, and our guest today is here to discuss exactly that. I'm really excited to welcome Mary Bawden, who is the founder and CEO of Dance. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you for having me. It's a joy to be here.
Now, Mary, some of our viewers who are tuning in may never have heard about sexual exploitation before and don't know what it is. Could you just describe for our viewers what exactly it is in your perspective and in your own words?
Well, sexual exploitation is when we take the concept of sex and we use it for our own ends, and we objectify people. In the case of my ministry or my organization, we're objectifying children in very inappropriate ways for sexual gain. And it's a really important issue.
Now, Mary, your organization is called Dance. Can you explain what does Dance stand for and why are you its founder?
Well, Dance stands for Dance Awareness, No Child Exploited. And we exist to provide resources and education for adults to stop the hypersexualization of children in adult costumes, choreography, and music. Our culture has really gone off the rails in how they perceive and treat children. And they are not mini adults. We're blurring the lines between childhood and adulthood.
As someone who is passionate about the art form of dance and who is a dance educator myself as well, I'm really looking forward just to learning from you today in our conversation and hearing what you have to share with us. So just to start off with, can you provide some background to your own dance history and, when did you become interested in dance?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm the youngest of 4 children, and we moved 6 times in my first 12 years. So that's a lot of moving. And all during that time, Mary Bawden wanted to take dance class. And I was always begging my mom, can I take dance class? Can I take dance class? But by the time we got to the new house, the new school, the new dentist, the new grocery store, we moved again. And with 4 children, just trying to get them dressed and get their lunches ready and on and on and on, my parents just didn't have the time until I was 11 years old. And my mother came to me. We just moved to a house in the LA area. And she said, you can take dance class. And I'll tell you, I was so excited. I'd been dreaming about this experience for so long. And I mean, way like when I was 6 years old. All this time, I was thinking I wanted to be a dancer person. In fact, in 2nd grade, I remember I went to school and I did a Swan Lake dance, and how I did it, I can't remember. But I brought a box. I was in the box. I opened the lid. The music came on to Swan Lake, and it ended, and I went back in the box. And so I was really focused on wanting to take dance class. So when I actually got that opportunity, it's just one of those times, and this is what the research shows, the healthy research of age-appropriate healthy dance for children, that my mind, body, and spirit came together in a beautiful, beautiful way. And I had a great time. So I had dreamed about it, I had thought about it, but sometimes when you have the actual experience, it's not that great. Well, for me, it was. It exceeded my expectations. And dance class became a very safe place for me to develop. And of course, the research shows that there's increased cognitive and intellectual development, academic performance, creativity, appropriate risk-taking, personal relational development that's just wonderful. And I began to experience all those things. And my confidence just went through the ceiling. And I entered into the junior high school era with a real sense of who I was. And then, of course, I continued my dance. I was taking by that time from 2 master teachers, Olga Fricker and Sheila Darby. They founded Chiquetti USA. And that was followed by a BA in modern dance from UC Riverside. That's the University of California at Riverside. a master's degree, teaching and choreographing for a church dance ministry for over 20 years, and writing a book. So I think you could safely say I had a wonderful, a positive experience in dance.
Thank you so much, Mary, for sharing your journey in dance. And I can just tell as you're sharing how much joy it brings you to talk about
big time.
Yeah, to talk about the positive and healthy outcomes that dance can generate for young people and the pathway it can lead people on for the rest of their life. It's so encouraging. And I know when I reflect on my own experience, dance as well has been such a positive outlet for emotions, for different things I've experienced, but also to foster creativity and build connections and community. Like, it's a wonderful, wonderful art form. Now, part of our conversation today is about the hypersexualization that is happening in dance culture. So when did you begin to notice the trend of the hypersexualization of children in adult costumes, choreography, and music within the dance world?
Well, I'll tell you, this whole issue of hypersexualization slowly, like I think so many people, I kind of began to get this slow awareness of that issue. And as a woman, not a dancer, I thought, I wonder why this is happening, but kind of dismissed it until I was invited by a young lady from our church who was at a college dance concert, or in one, and she wanted me to come. And so I did. I was so excited. Who doesn't want to come to a college dance concert, especially when you're a dance educator with a degree in dance and a master's, and you've written a book and you like it. So I went, and I was so surprised. There was a lot of hooting and hollering during the dance concert, which was totally a no-no when I went through school and the concerts I attended, because there was hypersexualized dance in that dance concert. And if you know anything about hypersexualized dance, it's just seeing the same dance over and over again. It's very boring from a choreographic standpoint in terms of the art of dance. Hypersexualized dance is not the art form. And so I completed that. It was college students. And I thought, well, this is just a bad concert, but it was pretty depressing until I went the next year, because I was invited by this same young lady to go again. And I thought, I'm going to go again. And it was worse. There was catcalls and just noise and horrible songs and nothing artistic, and terrible costuming. And again, the same kind of material in terms of movement and choreography that I saw the year before, on most of the dances in this whole concert. But I thought at that time, well, these are college-age young people. They're over the age of 18. I can't do a thing about this. Although I was disturbed as a woman, actually. But we won't go there today. We'll keep on in terms of dance. So I thought, I can't do a thing about this until I began to see those same hypersexualized dance moves in high school dance recitals in June. And then I began to see the same hypersexualized dances in junior high June dance recitals. And then I began to see those same hypersexualized adult costumes, choreography, and music in elementary school children in the June dance concerts. And then I began to see it, believe it or not, in preschool dance recitals. And I was really disturbed. And I knew it was wrong, but where do you go to find out? So I just went to the computer. That's one of the positive aspects of this computer media age, and I started doing research. And much of the research on danceawareness.com, the website, that is all free materials for all of your listeners and viewers, we began to formulate as a team of experts or professionals. I have a lot of professionals around me that I work with, and began researching, developing PowerPoints, developing video materials, developing an ebook to provide and to help adults be educated on this topic, because I knew as a dance educator, this is not the art of dance. And then even more importantly, what in the world are we doing to children? Why are we putting them in adult costumes, choreography, and music, making them into mini adults with the horrific outcomes that the research shows?
Mary, you've done an excellent job highlighting for us how over years and over time, the trends moved from an adult space to impacting children. Could you help explain what exactly is the definition of the hypersexualization of children?
Well, I'll tell you, because we're research-based, that's a question I get frequently. And so I could give you my idea, and maybe you give me your idea. But I don't go by my idea. I go right into the research of the APA. That's the American Psychological Association. That research is on my website, and they define, all these experts spent many hours and released a report in 2008 that has been reviewed and updated in 2019, so it's still current. And they say that a child is hypersexualized when they're valued only for their sexual appeal or behavior, when their physical attractiveness is equated with being sexy, when sexuality is inappropriately imposed on them, and when they're turned into a sexual object. Now, you don't have to have all four of these things to meet the criteria. All you have to do is meet one of those four parts of the definition to be hypersexualization for children.
Mary, thank you for that comprehensive definition and for just helping to highlight this issue and what it's starting to look like in dance. I'm looking forward to chatting with you more about this and to also learn the differences between healthy and harmful dance within dance culture and dance studios. So we're just going to take a short break and then we're going to come right back to pick up on this conversation. Thank you so much, Mary.
All right.
When you're online, Rogers TV on YouTube shares news and events from your community, like messages from local leaders, updates on the latest health news, local business presenting their new offerings, and how our local communities are working their way through these unprecedented times. Visit and subscribe to Rogers TV on YouTube for the latest local information.
Welcome back to Freedom Fighters Code Gray, a show where we discuss human trafficking and forms of exploitation that are impacting our community and our worlds. I'm excited to continue our conversation with CEO and founder of Dance, Mary Bawden. Mary, thanks again for being a part of this discussion today. Can you just review for people who might be just tuning in now and missed the first segment of the show, what does Dance stand for?
Dance stands for Dance Awareness, No Child Exploited. And of course, the acronym being DANCE. So it's easy to remember.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. We were just having a discussion about the hypersexualization of children in our culture. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about what does that actually look like in society and how does the media influence this?
That's a great question, Michaela. I think our culture has been surprised by the advent of the internet. And with the internet and that creation that kind of has saturated all of our lives through cell phones and TV and the internet and computer and on and on and on, we have been influenced by the media. They influence us, and we trust them to influence us in all kinds of ways. They give us information, education, entertainment, news. And so with that advent, they have been actually at the root of the problem, in my opinion, because they've been putting through the airwaves adult costumes, choreography, and music, and inappropriate adult situations for children to be exposed to way beyond their years. And, we have not pushed back. We have kind of accepted that. And I think, honestly, the hypersexualization of children in dance is connected to introducing pornography into the culture, seemingly in a way that the culture hasn't really understood. And all of a sudden, we're normalizing what is not normal. We're accepting standards that are harmful for children, for adults. I think a lot of the byproduct of the media invasion has resulted in more trafficking, more abuse in that area, and they're all interconnected. So this might surprise your viewers, but the hypersexualization of dance and adult costumes, choreography, and music for children is very connected to media and to the advent of the internet. Poet and cultural critic Allen Ginsberg said, "Whoever controls the media controls the culture." And so we have to do some hard thinking as a culture about what we're accepting, because porn dehumanizes humans. And certainly when we do that to children and make them into mini adults and use the art of dance to excite adults sexually, something is really wrong.
Along those lines, Mary, and this is a difficult conversation, but really important for people to understand, what are the researched outcomes of harmful hypersexualized dance versus the outcomes of healthy educational dance? What are the research outcomes of both of these worlds?
Well, I mentioned when I first came on that healthy dance is incredibly good for children. We have improved academic performance and brain development, creativity, appropriate risk-taking, social maturity, on and on and on. Just developing a child in all the right kinds of ways. And I would put an emphasis on the fact that the art of dance, unlike other art forms, and I'm not dissing them, but I do have a bias to dance, it integrates mind, body, and spirit. And most of us understand as adults that sometimes you get busy and you compartmentalize. So your mind thinks this way, your heart thinks that way, your body's doing this. But you really can't take a dance class and not kind of integrate all of those things. And research experts share for both adults and children, but particularly for children that are developing, that's a critical component of how they will go into and mature into adulthood. So the research is all there. It's on danceawareness.com. We really lift up the positive components about the wonder of dance and the joy of movement. And so your listeners can certainly find that information there. And I'm certainly a proponent. We often sponsor healthy dance at Dance Awareness No Child Exploited. In fact, this Sunday, we're sponsoring a class for underprivileged children to learn about ballet shoes. And it's called What's the Point? And we want to do that because when you're an underprivileged child, if you can get into the right kind of dance, you will develop and you'll be freed up to become more of who you should be. On the other hand, the negative effects of hypersexualized dance in adult costumes, choreography, and music, turning little people at younger and younger ages into adults, have outcomes, and I'll just list a few: codependence, eating disorders, body dysmorphia, depression, a higher use of porn use, poor academics, promiscuity, promoting objectification. A child who's an object and not seen as a human being is looked at as not deserving moral treatment. These are researched outcomes: not having an independent mind, not deserving dignity, not being intelligent, and having no moral foundation, so that they're objectified and they're just an object, and who cares about them? It promotes a rape culture, teen pregnancy, an inability for a child to identify sexual abuse. Now, let me just mention that a little more for a second here. You know, children have no idea of a big picture of anything. They're looking to the adults above them and around them to send them to environments that are appropriate. And when they are abused, when they are groomed for sexual abuse, and grooming is a tactic of overcoming a child's defenses by desensitizing them to abuse. And in the dance arena, of course, they go to dance class and it's so much fun, but they're slowly introduced to adult sexual material. So it all mixes up. They, as little people, have no ability to identify that this is abusive, but it comes out as they develop many years later, sometimes right away, but many, progressively, they're depressed. They have all these kinds of self-esteem issues because they haven't been integrated with mind, body, and spirit in healthy ways. They have been misused by adults in harmful ways. And I will tell you that the pornography industry is making money off of children that are hypersexualized in dance. There's a whole industry of pedophiles that are sharing the videos taken off of dance studios. And lots of times, inappropriate adults contact children and arrange to meet them, and on and on and on. This leads to trafficking. I mean, we don't have enough time to go to all the outcomes that are negative. So I think you can see by this list that there's so much there that we as adults need to speak out and stop this trend.
Wow, it's so disheartening what is happening to dance culture, and that children, like you said, are being abused and objectified and groomed for exploitation in this way. What would you say to a parent of someone who their child really wants to get involved in dance, maybe already is registered for a dance program? How would they know the difference between a healthy educational dance studio environment and a harmful hypersexualized dance studio?
Well, I think what we have to think of as adults is you have to make healthy choices for your child. You are the protective factor for a child. And just as you wouldn't, give keys to the car and say for a child to drive down to the store and get a quart of milk and come back, I mean, we don't think that was, inappropriate. You can't be allowing a child to go to a dance studio without checking it out and making sure it's age appropriate. And the way you do that is fairly simple. I'll give you a couple of check marks of what you can do. You can go on our website, danceawareness.com. There's a free ebook. And let me encourage your viewers that it's only 15 pages. So we're not talking 400 pages. But it's a free ebook. It talks about the scary new trends in children's dance, how to choose a healthy dance studio, how to avoid a harmful dance studio, and then how to educate a dance studio with the research on our website so you can enlighten a dance studio owner. But this also works for parents as well around a dance studio. Sometimes dance studios don't want to hypersexualize, but parents put pressure on them to do that. So I'm finding it's a broad picture of who seems to be uneducated and uninformed. So that would be one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is go to the dance studio website, look at the June dance studio videos, and you will see in those dance studio videos what kind of material they put on young people for their dance recital. And I think you can immediately tell the difference between age-appropriate material and material that's sexualized. I particularly look at what they do with their older girls. And for the parents that would say, well, my child's 5 years old, so that won't make any difference, I can send him to that dance studio, I would give a word of caution, because children look up to the older girls. So what a dance studio does with the older girls, if your child is 5 or 8 or 10, besides the terrible outcomes for them, they're going to be very influenced by what the older girls and older boys now are doing. So that's one way. And then another way is this. I would go to the dance studio owner and I actually ask them, what is your position on the hypersexualization of children in adult costumes, choreography, and music? Now, you don't have to be unkind. You don't have to be disrespectful, but I think that's a valid question. And so one of the educational outcomes in dance awareness, besides protecting children, protecting the art of dance, producing materials that give adults informed choices, is to engage in respectful conversations with the culture around you. And that certainly would include a dance studio owner. And I don't shame people. I think this advent of the internet and the media has taken everybody by surprise. And I'm just finding that people have been unaware. So if I am disrespectful and unkind and I shame them, all that happens is they feel defensive and they don't want to go further in thinking about it. But if I engage in respectful conversations, approach them with research, it's all on our website, folks, and I ask them to consider the outcomes. I have seen people change. And I certainly would tell your viewers, don't be discouraged if you share for a first time and then somebody doesn't make an instant change. Research even shows people don't tend to change after one, glimpse at a new perspective. You come back and you talk again and say, what do you think? Or have you seen this article? Or did you see that video on dance awareness? Maybe you want to use that for the parents in your studio.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mary. This has been so informative. I've learned so much from our discussion today, and I would really encourage folks to check out your website, danceawareness.com. Thank you for just educating and enlightening us on this issue that's impacting our dance communities. Thanks for tuning in to Freedom Fighters Code Gray. If you or someone you know is being impacted by trafficking and is looking for information or support, you can call our 24/7 Canadian human trafficking hotline that exists at 1-833-900-1010. Again, 1-833-900-1010. And if you're in immediate danger, please call 911 or your local police service. Thanks so much for taking the time to tune in today. And thank you, Mary, for being here and being a part of this important discussion.
Thanks for having me.